I'll call this order. And first item of business would be Wayne with an update on CPA plan that you prepared. Thank you.
Oh, sure. Put together, got the last financials from Wendy earlier today, so sorry that we didn't allow more time for review. But I think Stephanie did get that draft of the plan and the appendixes out to people a couple of hours ago. And
yeah, maybe an hour ago. Did everybody get it? Do you want me to resend it?
I got it.
Okay, and I can also display it. I can share the screen as we go through it.
Just gotten in from Boston and was at the dentist, so I have not had an opportunity to do it.
Okay, so I will display it.
And then maybe, you know, folks might want to give it some time and maybe approve it or something, maybe at the next meeting, I don't know, or you know, possibly this meeting if you're feeling comfortable with it. So what I did is we had that little working group looking at the process for applications, and I believe I got that. Well, that is a strange looking thing.
Hold on, I can change it.
That's the cover.
Yeah, the cover.
Oh, is that the Word version, or do you want to do the PDF with everything?
I have the Word version handy.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
All right, no worries. Yeah, so you know, I updated it to reflect the revised and reconsidered application process that we talked about earlier this year, designed to try and give greater support and guidance to potential applicants so that when they come forward with an actual application, it could result in a better project. And I remember we had talked about, you know, especially for construction projects, how we get good plans and specs and budgets, which may be easier for larger institutional entities, but we also wanted to be able to accommodate smaller grassroots efforts. So the idea was modeled on what Massachusetts Historical Commission does, is their sort of two-step project process. You know, they invite letters of interest, or they solicit letters of interest, and then they actually invite some folks to do some, you know, pre-applications or something. Where to get to in there? Oh yeah, I guess it's down towards the end. So that prospective applicants could partner up with staff and someone from the CPC to really develop a much more considered application. And then from that, invite full applications by the end of the year to then consider and evaluate and recommend. So I sort of mapped that out according to the conversations that our subgroup had months ago. And a lot of it remains largely unchanged. You know, I don't know if folks want to reevaluate some of the called out priorities. You know, each section does have priorities for open space or historic and so forth. So that it might be useful to really look at that. And then talking with Stephanie, I think last week it was, you know, the idea for the plan is to be more of a sort of like a general goals and objectives sort of guidance document without getting too incredibly specific for things which may change over time. So I think that this recommends, reflects our conversation that the little working group had, and gives us something to really start evaluating and discussing.
Sounds good. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Questions or issues at this time?
I had a chance to skim through it about a half an hour ago. Obviously, we all want to sit down and take a closer look at it, but it looks very good from the get-go. I like some of the changes, and a lot of the stuff you kept the same. So very good. Nice job.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yep, I agree. I did skim through it. Like to take the chance to read it more carefully, but I think this is something we can discuss at the next meeting and make some changes if we desire, and then move it forward. Other issues or questions or comments? Okay, hearing none. I will, again, the plan is to focus on this more thoroughly at our next meeting, and hopefully moving to making it public in the near future. The next item on the agenda is the agenda for the October meeting. This really is a question of what are we going to focus on at that meeting, and whether we take a deeper dive into our financial resources and constraints so we can better understand what's possible moving into the future. Stephanie, do you have any information on that?
Well, one of the suggestions was to have Wendy back before the committee. I understand that she did talk to the committee probably the beginning of the year, came and met with everyone and talked about your finances and went over that. Thought it would be a good time to do that again. You know, talk about how much you have in reserved funds, how much you have available, kind of talk a little bit about the debt service and how much money the fund actually has for any particular project that might come up in the future. For example, one of the priority parcels became available.
Okay. Also, I think,
and certainly for you know, one of the things I think I just want to reaffirm this is because of the change in the process, and as Wayne pointed out, it becoming more of a year-long process where you're engaging potential applicants up front and kind of looking at the types of projects that might be approved. The assumption is that you will not be, or you would be soliciting proposals for projects for this upcoming, for next year's annual town meeting.
I would think that we could finish this review in time for us to do that, should we choose, but it is up to committee.
So is that something, I mean, that might be part of the discussion at the next meeting?
Right, the timing.
And then, right. And then maybe at the next meeting, we could invite Wendy.
That would be fine with me. Thoughts, anybody?
Very silent.
Oh, hi. With the proposed roughly year-long process and with other projects up for consideration at the special town meeting this fall, yeah, perhaps we're not aiming for May 21 town meeting for the next batch, but rather May 22, and then use the year of 2021 to really engage with this new inviting applications process that we're trying to get going.
I think Wayne may be right, because normally applications go out in October. And if we're running a new process, it may run a little bit longer. Seems like there's a little bit more stepwise. That doesn't necessarily preclude us from doing the final vote at the fall town meeting, if we did want to go that way. Fall 2021.
Again, we don't have to decide that at this moment. This would be something that we would discuss as part of the next meeting process. Looking at where first, what to implement, and second, when to implement it.
And then also, as the group has always done, if say a priority project or open space parcel comes up, then obviously there can be an expedited consideration recommendation. Should anything actually pop up that's critical or urgent.
Other thoughts?
Do we know if there's anything kind of in the pipeline that is anticipating being able to submit in the coming months?
I have not heard anything, but other folks might have their ears a little closer to the ground.
Other than what we've discussed in past meetings, no. Okay, it sounds like, oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, it looks like John has joined us, John Ventresco.
And Carol's here too.
And Carol. Carol, do you want to unmute yourself?
Carol, I think you're still vocally, there you go.
There we go. Thank you.
John, are you muted? Okay. We've had a brief discussion of the CPA plan update, and we're going to take a deeper dive next meeting on that issue. We've also been discussing the agenda for the next meeting, and we'll invite Wendy to come in and talk with us about financial resources and timing. So that's where we are in the meeting so far.
Thank you, Jim. I have a question about the town meeting, bringing the articles that we approved to the town meeting. And
Yes.
one of them is about Wheaton Farm.
Yes.
And the farmer, I think, would benefit if we could, if there were to be a town meeting in November, the farmer would benefit from knowing whether the town supports that particular thing we fairly robustly approved, because he needs to plan his growing season next year.
I think that the items that we've approved are on the agenda for the upcoming meeting.
And is there for the upcoming, but we don't know if that's November or.
Yes, it is November.
Yes. There are plans to have a November meeting.
Great. Do we have a date for that, Stephanie?
No, we don't have a date yet.
Okay, thank you.
Are there issues on that, or we do have minutes to approve from our previous meeting? We're not going to deal with the executive session at this time. But this would be the minutes of our August 13th meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the August 13th meeting as written.
Thank you, Dennis.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Any adjustments to that set of minutes?
Jim, I have one well, actually, I did say as written. There should be one adjustment on the roll call for executive session. My name was omitted.
Okay. I'm sure that was inadvertent.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, Tish. Tish, did you get that?
Yes,
Okay, so we'll get that added.
yes, I'll do that tonight.
Okay. Any others? Okay, hearing none. We're going to do this by roll call, and I'll do it in the order on my screen. So I vote aye. Ed?
Aye.
Amanda?
Aye.
Dennis? Dennis?
Aye.
John,
Great.
you need to unmute yourself.
Greg,
Aye.
Carol,
I,
and John, we're voting on the minutes, adjustment to the minutes of our last meeting. You wish to vote on the appropriateness of those minutes?
John, can you hear us? Because,
You're still on mute. John?
well, he goes in and out, but I don't know that you can hear us.
Doesn't look like it.
No, it doesn't look
No,
like.
and I don't know
Okay.
how to communicate with him.
I'll move to Meredith for this vote. Meredith, how do you vote?
I agree. Yeah,
Okay,
true. Sorry.
Eyes on the road.
okay, so we're waiting for John. John? Oh,
He's gonna try to log in again, I think.
I try to change.
Wait a minute. Ooh.
Gary's coming back.
I feel like we're on a commercial for what goes wrong during COVID.
Yes.
And during Zoom meetings, right? Yeah. Ooh. I'm trying to see if I have his cell phone number. I can send him a text.
While we have this brief
I do.
interlude, Tish, I just made those updates to the minutes to have Sheedy.
Oh, thank you very much.
So, yeah, you'll find them when you look.
I don't know.
Thank you. He has to start the video.
Well, that's not going to keep him from being heard. I wonder if he's having problems with his audio. I just sent him a text. We'll see if he responds.
We should be
But
able to.
I think you have a majority vote, Jim.
okay. All right. If John doesn't come back, we'll just list this.
Oh, I don't know.
Do you have to let him in some way, Stephanie?
No, he's a panelist. Tish already made him a panelist, which is what we need to do. And I don't know, I'm going to ask him to start his video. I had problems this morning trying to use my headset, which I had absolutely no problems doing the other day or
There you are.
doing today.
Can you hear us, John?
No, we can't hear you, John. Oh,
We have no audio from you, John.
Lower left-hand corner, there's a little thing that says unmute.
He's not on mute. I think
No.
he's
no, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
not working.
Well, I will list John as abstain in this vote. We have a majority.
And John might need to turn up the volume, the speaker or something on his computer itself.
Good point.
I'm making him a sign.
Can you hear us, John? Nod if you can hear us.
No, it's clear he cannot hear us.
Okay.
John, we cannot hear you.
Yeah, why don't you, if there's another side to that paper, maybe suggesting to turn up the volume.
Or dial in.
Right, hang up.
Yeah, dial in. Dial in would be a very good. You know what? I'm going to call him. There. Yes. Hello? John? Can you call in instead of, because we can't, something's wrong with your microphone and speakers. So can you call in? Well, it's not going to work. There is a call-in number on the agenda. Do you have the agenda? So I'm gonna hang up, and if you could tell us for the following number.
I have the number. You want it?
Yeah, write it on a screen. That's a good idea.
I don't know what you're referencing.
It's gonna be fun when.
Yeah, I don't know what that means. I'm not an iPhone user.
What would we call this portion of the
I
program?
know, I just know how to dial numbers.
It's called playing telephone, you know that
All
game?
right, so why don't you dial the number? I bet if you
It's called torturous.
dial the, or telephone US number. Carol, he has it in front of him.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna hang up and then you can call in. Great. And you can stay on the video too.
Yeah.
You can do both, so.
While he's calling in, I'd like to make a request or ask for some help, I should say. I logged into the call at about 3 or 4 past 6, and I waited maybe as long as 10 minutes to be brought into the meeting. And I wonder in the future how we might communicate with each other when something like that happens.
Well, one of the things you can do is you can always send a text to my cell phone. I try to keep an eye on who's coming in because we have to convert you from attendee to a panelist.
Right.
And so I thought I was 4 minutes past 6, I was still looking for attendees. Up until, I think I was, I don't know, Tish, were you
If I
looking?
may-
Because, yes,
Mr. Chairman, I thought that I had sent out the invitations and designated all members as panelists so that we wouldn't have this problem. So I apologize, Carol. Evidently, I did not do that. And I was taking minutes and wasn't looking at the screen. So I apologize, Carol. I think
Yeah.
in the future, if when the invitation to Zoom goes out, that the panelists are all, the members of the committee are automatically panelists when they come in.
Right.
I think
Thank you.
that's the best way. But
Thank you.
again, I'm very sorry.
Yeah, thank you. No problem. Just wanted to try to make things a little better. So Stephanie, will you share your cell phone number with me?
yeah, sure.
Either right
Hold
now
on a minute.
or
Hold
later.
on a moment, please.
Okay.
I just want to, John, I think that's you. Can you hear us now? You still need to unmute.
Yeah, I'm trying to, it says unmute.
I have you on the phone line, but you're still muted. I will email my phone number to everybody.
Thank you.
Can everybody hear me now?
Yes,
Yes,
Oh, thank God. My God. Sorry about that, guys. Gals.
Carol, I'll email
that's all
you.
right.
Oh, it made for a
oh
riveting.
yeah,
Yes.
The item that we're stuck on at this moment is approving the minutes of the last meeting. And there was one adjustment, which was that Dennis was left off of the vote at the very last of the minutes to move to executive session. That was amended. Do you wish to vote to approve, disapprove, or would you rather abstain from the vote to approve those minutes? John?
I was not in attendance, so I abstain.
Okay, thank you.
That's perfect.
We got there. That's what counts.
That's how we marked it down the first time around.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so the last item on the agenda is discussion of the Randall Street property. And we had a walkthrough of that property last week. And there were, I think, at the beginning, 4 of us, at the end, 5 that were there. Ed, you were there the longest besides myself. Do you have any thoughts of that walkthrough?
Yes, it looks very woodsy.
Thank you. Thank you. Did you write that down? That was
Obviously, there's room for at least one house there, maybe two, and then there's that big chunk of property that in back that we really didn't walk.
right.
So I'm interested in hearing more about what the owners have been saying, rather than my evaluation of. Thankfully, I didn't get any poison ivy. So
They really didn't say a lot. I mean, they thought it was pretty clear that the town probably wasn't that it wasn't a prime parcel for the town to consider. I think that's what they got from the on-site. They would be interested in, you know, Greg, one of the things that I had mentioned to them was your suggestion that, you know, a developer could possibly come in and use the flexible development or one of the other zoning tools to develop some housing units there, possibly with an affordable unit, and then preserve the open space. So they're kind of interested in that, but they don't, you know, they don't have the wherewithal or the experience or knowledge on how to approach a developer that would know how to use those tools.
Thoughts, Greg?
Well, I'm just, I don't know if we can.
I mean,
I guess we have to be careful. We have to be careful not to recommend people. I mean, there's,
right.
But
right.
you know, I mean, look, I think the parcel is. I think the best way to handle it, like I said last time, is to have if there's going to be a purchase, let it be a developer, and you know, we have tools set up, and that way we will get the Gesundheit. We will get the open space that's desired for free. And there's yeah, I mean, I think they could call the planning department and be given names of some developers who've done similar projects. You know, and I say that with a question mark. I mean, I just don't think as a board member.
Yeah, that's kind of my. That was kind of my position. We, as you stated, we can't recommend someone, but what we can do is give them the names of people who have done similar type of projects in town.
Yeah, I think that, and then once they start talking to people, you know, it's like anything. There might be people that might be interested or might not, but they'll say, "Hey, call this woman, call this man." Yeah. So, but I think I'm assuming we have to be pretty careful doing that. So,
yes,
I'll limit my conversation to that for now.
Yeah.
But I am glad if you know. Unfortunately, I had to miss the meeting for circumstances out of my control. But I am glad if you know. It'd be nice to have, but I think that you know, it'd be nice if we can get it without having to touch CPA.
John, are you going to say something?
Yeah, I actually walked the property also, and it looked, I mean, Greg, you might be able to answer this a lot better, but it looked pretty high to me. Somebody had mentioned that they thought it was wet. No, we didn't go far enough back. That property. Stephanie, can you answer to that?
Oh, yeah, they had the wetland line delineated. There was a plan that they had, and I can't put my hands on it immediately. I don't know if we have it in the office, but they did have the wetland line delineated. It wasn't reviewed or confirmed by the Conservation Commission, but the parcel's pretty wet. And we can see that when we look at the GIS maps as well. So the area we were on, John, you and I were walking, that's probably one of the driest areas.
Yeah, it looked, I mean.
But I think it drops off. You can see when you're looking out, as we were standing from the road looking into it, if you walk in probably 75 to 100 feet, you can see where it starts to drop off up to the left side there.
So here's two questions left. First, we can go round and round on this, but we really don't have a price, which is a major block here. And second of all, the last question is, has the town ever worked with a developer where affordable housing lot could be worked into a deal?
We have several tools in our existing bylaws that allow that to happen.
Okay, so to me, that would be a big plus.
Sure.
Okay.
And I guess the only way we're gonna find a price out, if we're really interested through CPA, which I think is gonna be far more than we would ever possibly think, but we'd have to pay for that appraisal, am I correct?
Yes, that is correct.
I think Greg's suggestion is what makes a ton of sense to me. I don't think this is remotely a priority for us, and especially with the thing coming down the road. I wouldn't be interested in going to the expense of it.
Yeah, I tend to lean to that myself.
Yeah, I mean, the tools are in place, and if someday it is to be developed, the portions that are wet, and keep in mind, they can actually be dry, but, you know, the portions that aren't buildable will come to us. So it just, and, you know, there's nothing wrong with it just sitting there now. And if the people that own it want to sell it, they'll, I'm sure they'll find, you know, suitors.
If nothing else, if nothing else, this whole process, I think it's brought the co-owners together, where they seem for many years to be on at odds with what should be done with the land. So I think this process has really helped them come together, and that's the next step. Let them work together and figure out what they're going to do with the property.
Were all the co-owners there? I got the feeling that one of them was not.
That's Mrs. Doyle's brother, was Mrs. Delaney's brother was not there. But that's another situation unto itself.
Okay, it sounds like there's a consensus to not move forward with this any further at this time. Is that an accurate consensus? Or do you wish a vote?
I agree.
Agreed.
For me.
Agreed.
I think consensus is fine.
Okay. All right. Well, that then obviates a move to an executive session at this time.
Mhm.
And unless someone else has an issue that also completes our agenda for the evening.
Well, I would like to recap the first 15 minutes of the meeting that John missed.
Well, we'll let you do that. I'll leave the meeting open, and we'll all leave
Yeah.
you to it.
Hey, I'll
You
put
have
your cell
two
phone.
seconds
I
to
have a
do
piece of
that.
blank paper. I'll put your cell phone number on it. I didn't know we could do banners. This opens up a whole new range of possibilities.
Okay. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? We'll
Yes.
start with myself. Aye. Ed?
Aye.
Dennis?
Aye.
Wayne, sorry. Greg?
Aye.
Amanda?
Aye.
Carol?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
And last but not least, Meredith.
Aye.
Thank you very much. I'm afraid we didn't hear from you that much. I apologize. But it's hard with a number of people talking, and you're just a phone on my screen. You're just a phone. So,
Sorry.
but
You're
thank
more,
you.
you're more, hey, Meredith.
All right. Best wishes and stay well all.
Good night.
Thank you, Kim.
Good night,
Have a good
everybody.
weekend, all.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.